Hi, I'm Sophie.
Hi, I'm Paul,
And we are SP Film Viewers.
and today we're doing something a little bit different. We are doing a rewatch of a film we have both seen, and that film is Your Name, a Japanese anime directed by, I'm hoping I'm getting this name right, Makoto Shinkai,
Probably done it better than I would have done.
and that came out in 2006. And later in this episode, we have another new feature called New Review, which is where we've been to the cinema recently and seen a film that obviously we both haven't seen before, and we discuss that as well. And that happens to coincide with Makoto Shinkai's new film that's come out, which is called Weathering with You. So initially we'll start with Your Name. We will try our best not to include any spoilers in either of these films, as we'd like you to experience them for yourselves. So we'll just kind of give a generalised overview of the themes and our thoughts of what we got from the films. So
it's going to be tricky to try and not give too much away, because once I get going, I know what I'm like. But
we've got, a boy and a girl in Your Name.
Yep.
Who go by Mitsuha, that's the girl, and Taki, which is the boy.
And they... Am I allowed to say that they kind of have a split kind of lifestyle in a sense?
Yeah. So I guess the best way to describe it is a sort of like a body swap comedy, because they've got the girl Mitsuha who, she finds herself in the boy's body, although it is Taki who's in Mitsuha's body initially. And I guess it's quite a bit more adult themed, a bit more than you would in a Studio Ghibli film.
Yeah.
Because of, oh look, I've got, male parts or girl parts or whatever. So that's quite comical to see experienced in the...
Yeah. I think as well how it comes together in the end works out well, and the way that they communicate through the phones to explain what's happened throughout the day.
Yeah, the sort of like backtrack on the thing, like what did I do last night kind of thing. Yeah. And then they kind of have to puzzle together what happens with that. But what's interesting is like at the start of the film, because Mitsuha, she lives in a fictional rural town called Itomori, whereas Taki lives in, I guess, in central Tokyo.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a contrast there with, city life and countryside life. So, and as most people who live in the countryside always complain about, oh, it's boring, there's nothing to do here. And she kind of makes that a statement of, sort of paraphrasing here, but I think it's something like, bring me back in next life as a Tokyo boy. And so I guess she kind of gets her wish, really, with the story.
Be careful what you wish for, really. That's kind of the...
Yeah. One of the other themes, I guess, is love conquering all, wouldn't you say? Based on what happens
ending,
in this story. But
initially, you wouldn't think it would turn out that way. But in the end...
But I guess as characters grow, they sort of develop.
Yeah, they do. So I think with all anime films, you have that kind of certain style, but the visuals on this are wonderful to watch, I'd say. We've watched it 2 different ways, haven't we? So we've watched it in English.
Yeah, in English dubbed version initially on Amazon, I think we first saw it. And now we've watched it again in Japanese with English subtitles on.
And I actually do think, personally for me, which surprised me, because normally, if it's got subtitles, I'm normally not interested in a film. But because you were listening to... A, there was some Japanese words that I actually realised I knew.
Yeah, pick up on these things.
And B, there was more... You focusing more on the visuals. And because the way that it is kind of animated or directed, you can kind of... The pause and the gaps and when they're speaking is really well done.
It allows you time to absorb the visuals of what's on the screen
Yeah.
a little bit, rather than just be bang, bang, bang really quick.
Yeah, and you're just reading the writing and not being able to focus on what the actual... It's not like that at all. You're able to kind of read it, and then there's breaks where there's no talking. You could actually watch it without...
Yeah, if a film is strong enough to allow you to do that without any dialogue whatsoever, then you know it's a good film.
Yeah.
If it can do that.
And I think with these ones, with both that we're reviewing, you could actually get the content. Obviously, you won't get the full story, possibly, but you would understand the main line, really.
The detail in this, though, is just absolutely insane, like how detailed things are on the trees and the building work. And
is it hand drawn?
Oh yeah, definitely be hand drawn. It'll be hand drawn. Obviously, the characters are moving within the backgrounds that they're in. Yeah. So you have to, a bit like Studio Ghibli, where they'll be matte painted or whatever themselves.
I like what we saw when we went
to the museum.
Yeah.
It's
fascinating how much work goes into it.
A lot of work went into this. I can definitely be sure of that. Yeah.
So you can more probably tell than I can.
Yeah. One of the other things, though, I think is, and I know I seem to be comparing this a lot to Studio Ghibli films, but the way they portray food in this really makes everything characters are eating look delicious.
It does, and it makes you want to eat it. It really does. I think as well, obviously, because like you referred to, the girl character when she's in Tokyo, in the boy's body.
Yeah.
She's never experienced all these cafes because in their rural little country, there's nothing like that. So when I think she spends quite a bit of its money going to all these different cafes. So I think she's got the actual better end of the stick.
Yeah.
It does now that we've been lucky enough to go to Japan last year. I think it makes you fall in love with the animation and anime more because you can relate to it.
Yeah, because it is a sort of fantasy world, but it's set in almost like a realistic setting.
Yeah. I think as well, like you're saying, with the food and such, because there's certain foods when you see it, you're like, oh, we know that. And it gets you, well, it does me anyways, it gets me a bit more excited because I can actually...
More appreciative of it.
Yeah, I understand it more, where sometimes if you were watching it and you weren't aware, it wouldn't have the same effect.
Yeah, as I said, the humour in this is quite... It's not totally like ridiculously like, oh, we won't get this because it's Japanese, because they do have a sort of different sense of humour, but it's not too...
No, it isn't, and there is some, like you were saying about them thinking, oh, I'm a girl, and then kind of like looking at certain areas. It's not done in a crass kind of way.
Yeah,
it's like
it's
an innocent
way.
It
was 12 rated,
yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's done in like I think, but then Japan to me is innocent in anything it does, really. It has that cutesy, innocent, sweet kind of vibe to it. And I think what I love about any anime is you can put it on and it's one of those that it has a really good message behind it. It's beautiful to watch, but at the same time it's a relaxing watch. It's not like it's intense or anything like that. You could just literally put it on if you've had a hard day. It'd be a pleasure to watch it.
Definitely think I find myself drawn more to those ones, more that look visually pleasing and are easy to soak in, rather than something that's super intense. And those are a little fine and dandy, but
I actually have decided I prefer, and I can't believe I'm going to say this because I've always been like a Disney kind of girl. I love anything that Disney do. I used to watch all like the Sleeping Beauty, Pocahontas, but actually now, thanks to you, because I never would have watched any anime, really, because you cultured me in a sense.
Yay! Results.
I do think I actually prefer an anime to like a Disney, and if we had children, I'd probably want to bring them up more. Don't get me wrong, I will show them Disney. I'm not saying I'd never show them Disney, but they'll have another alternative option.
Yeah.
Which I didn't have when I was younger. I didn't even
know of its existence as such. No.
Yeah, really ignorant about it.
Good to know. So, definitely highly recommend seeing this if you haven't seen it already. If you love anime in general, And if you love stunning visuals and a great storyline, then I highly recommend you check this out. You can buy it on Blu-ray or DVD like I have. So, what would you rate the film? I've just seen it again.
I think as well, what I haven't said as well, is with the storyline, it does give you a bit of a emotional roller coaster.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of... I feel like there's some stakes in it.
Yeah, which doesn't give too much away, but it does make you, if you haven't seen it...
Keeps you engaged.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I'd probably say definitely a 9. Probably. I feel like I shouldn't give a 10, but for me, I'd watch it again and again.
9, yeah.
9 solid, yeah.
Yep, I would say the same, yeah.
Would you? Oh, we actually agree on the score. We don't normally. So.
Now, it is time for new review.
Ooh.
Which, as I said earlier, is where we've been to the cinema recently to see a new film, and we're going to discuss our thoughts about it. So this time it is in conjunction with watching Your Name, which is called Weathering with You.
So, before Christmas, you sent me a little poster print screen and went, "Oh, do you want to go see this?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, we'll go see it." And I don't really do any research. I don't watch a trailer. I don't do anything.
Sometimes that's the best way. Sometimes with these things, you see trailers and you think, "Oh, that looks great," and then you get disappointed when you actually see what you think is going to be amazing.
That's true. Or you've seen half the film in the trailer.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually know what I was expecting when I went in. The highlight for me was also we got a cup of tea in the cinema.
Yeah, because it was about 8 o'clock on Sunday night when we saw it.
And so a cup of tea in hand, ready to watch the film, with obviously some movie snacks like you would do.
Oh, and just also to note, we watched this in Japanese with English subtitles as well, to get a more authentic feel.
Was there an option for English?
There was I think, on certain days, but I thought I'd go for this one again, more authentic.
So, are we trying to not give too much away?
Yeah,
because obviously it's still in the cinema.
Cinemas. For I don't know how long for, but yeah, we're going to try and just keep it
more brief and not as... I won't go, hopefully, full into detail. So, obviously you've got a boy and a girl. That's the obvious.
Yeah.
That's not going to be too spoilerish. What I noticed with the film was, obviously because it's newer, it related to more issues for today a little bit. So like, it was, obviously there was parts where you could see it was more the struggle of life, I guess. Not just kind of that it was not as innocent as a normal anime, I felt. There was a lot more kind of actually showing hardship.
Do you mean daily struggles with jobs and things, or was it really because of the fact that it was on like a rainy setting, so everything looked miserable?
No, that wasn't it. Because even when the way that they did the rain was beautiful and stunning. Never seen rain like captured that way before. But what I'm referring to was the daily struggle of jobs, life.
Mm-hmm. Such as our lead male character, who's run away from home and he's come to Tokyo to try and get work, which is not proven easy.
Well, no, because he's a minor, isn't he? So he's not got a chance, and he's not got anywhere really. So there's that struggle, which you can see, and as well also with the lead lady, she's got a bit of a rough kind of life. It's not plain sailing. It's not like normal struggles in an anime.
What would they be then?
I don't know, like, the parents being a bit mean or something like that. Just like, because it's normally children or teenagers, whereas this is kind of more an adult kind of
but
making...
they are teenagers.
But they have the adult struggle.
Right, you're saying they're having to grow up too fast in a modern world. Right, okay. So, our lead character, he does meet up with this girl eventually, who's kind enough to give him what looks like the most delicious Big Mac I've ever seen.
I didn't think you were going to say Big Mac then, but yeah, that's how they
No,
first
just
met.
because they do. That's another. Sorry, just off topic. Again, there's another thing they do in this. Again, there's a lot more detail in almost everything. There's a lot of not like replacing an apple with some weird fruit logo. It's actually the genuine article of businesses and things to look as realistic as possible.
They do. They really do.
But, again, making the food look really nice.
I thought you were going to refer to. I'm sure they had ramen.
Yep.
And I thought that's what you were going to refer to, not the Big Mac. But that is, she did actually provide the Big Mac first, so you are right in that. Mm-hmm. There was also a highlight for me, which was that little cat. Mm-hmm. I know I've got an obsession with cats, and I do love cats to bits, but the way that cat was portrayed, just every time he was on the screen, it made my face light up.
Do you remember what his name was?
No, I don't. Meow?
No, it's really easy. It's Rain.
Oh, yeah, it is, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Because weather.
Well, in English, anyway. So the female protagonist, we find out that she has the ability to control the weather. And it develops basically with her and the lead male starting a business up to provide sunshine for people, which is rightly so, because if that was a thing in real life, people would absolutely love to be able to have a sunny day on whenever they felt like it.
They'd want it every day, to be honest. It would be a very popular service. The person who has the job of providing the rain, however, wouldn't be as lucky. If you've got the sun as a service, then that would, it is a definite go-to. People would pay ridiculous amounts. Like, let's say you're getting married and you want sunshine on your big day.
Which is one of the scenarios that happens, as you see. And all we'll say is it's obviously not literally all sunshine for the characters. And I guess that's all I'll say about the storyline, because I don't want to go into too much detail, but I think that's enough.
I'd have thought it's in a Tokyo kind of setting.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I gathered from it.
Yeah, no, it definitely is, because I was looking at it and thinking, sure, I know roughly where that might be, or I know it's a big place, but it's or something that looks very, very, very similar to where we've been to again. So, again, the visuals overall are pretty fantastic, aren't they? Like I said,
they're even. I think they're higher quality than Your Name, obviously.
Right, so I don't know if it actually came out in 2019 initially, so it might be 3 years difference, or maybe 4, depending on obviously release dates, because it came out over this year 2020. So but anyway, that's still pretty good going for 3 years difference.
You can see the development.
Yeah.
It's the sharpness of it, and I think as well, because it is pretty much raining the entire film. They've got capturing the lighting, and there's just all that aspect of the weather.
Especially when the sun does come out in this thing, you can definitely see it does brighten up people's day when the sun is out. The moods drastically change. When it's sunny, people are happy. It's
a simple fact.
Yeah.
The people have more energy. They want to go do things. When it's raining, you just want to stay inside, don't you? You don't want to get wet.
No.
So there's a lot of things that open the doors to you. Really gripping storyline.
Would you say it's as gripping as Your Name, though? That's my only thing.
There's not as many twists and turns in this one.
No, I feel
like there's not. You feel more, a little bit
more
on the hardship.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I think it's different. You think you straight away feel sorry for these characters, whereas in Your Name you don't actually get that until the back end of the story.
Definitely, yeah, you're right there. Yeah.
So it's a case of it's all Your Name is a bit light and fluffy at the beginning, and then it's then the true story kind of
unfolds. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas with this one, it kind of already is still always kind of struggling. Really.
Yeah.
It's just a struggle.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think probably Your Name is more of a surprise to you. You can kind of see with Weathering with You, kind of where the story is going to go, I think, a little bit more. So you can it's a little bit more predictable, possibly. Whereas Your Name, that threw me off completely. I didn't expect
Yeah, it's a fair assessment, yeah.
Yeah. But overall, both wonderfully to watch. I think, depending on what mood you're in to watch one of them, I'd probably say Your Name is a bit more highly recommended on.
Yeah.
In my view.
Oh, I definitely see Weathering with You again. No doubt about that. But what would you rate Weathering with You compared to Your Name?
I'd probably give it an 8.5, probably. I don't think it's as strong as Your Name for the story.
Yeah.
But I do think it has got other more modern quirks with it. It's kind of showing the hardship and, like you're saying, the detail of it is obviously outweighs.
More creative shots, I think, as well.
But then, if you're just going on the actual story itself, I'd probably say Your Name is...
Yeah, definitely stronger. Yeah. I agree, yeah. So I'd say probably about maybe an 8, I think, really, for me. But yeah, you got the extra 0.5.
That's just because of the detail of the anime itself and such.
Yeah, no, I still appreciate that. But yeah, I definitely would see it again, and I would recommend you go see it. If you can go see it at the cinema, please try and do so. Yeah,
because it does give you a better experience when you watch it in the cinema. And it's...
with Japanese and English subtitles, if you can.
Yeah, I would say so. Especially, I'm sure there was like the sayings, like I said, you capture them and you're like, oh, I actually remember that one. And kind of, you're reading it on the screen, but you're subconsciously hearing the Japanese. And it's like, some words kind of do enter your head and you remember what they actually mean in English, even though you're reading it in English on the screen. But I think my brain must have a bit of a lag because of I hear the Japanese and I'm like, oh, I know what that means, and I'm reading, I'm like, oh yeah, it actually just says it there, Sophie.
Yeah. Anything else to add?
Well, we did actually, once we'd finished watching the film, we had like a mini little chat, didn't we, in the cinema, like cafe thing. Yeah. And it did kind of bring back as well our love for Japan.
Yeah, definitely.
And you were like already thinking, oh, I really want to go back.
It's all that food, that delicious looking food, and just all the visuals.
Yeah. Yeah. And the lifestyle and such, and how polite they are.
Yeah. For the most part.
Yeah. I think that's what it brings back, and it may bring back memories of our trip there, and all the fond bits that we've got to bring back as well. So I think it's one of those kind of now going to be always dear to us, anything that has Japan in it, because it's our first proper holiday, wasn't it, really?
First holiday abroad, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But overall, really, really good watches.
I hope that we haven't given too much away with what we've said, but yes, please go and enjoy both these animes.
Hopefully there'll be more that Paul will introduce me to, and we'll do more reviews on them, because I absolutely love them.
Yeah, we'll try and do that down the line. We will try and mix up the formula with rewatches and new reviews, as well as what Sophie hasn't seen before. But
yeah, I got off lightly this week, I think, compared to last week's with the lovely, lovely, horrible Borat film, which I will never be rewatching, so we won't be doing another.
No, I don't think there's no need. We've done it now, so
no, never. But anyways, yes. Yeah.
So thank you once again for listening. Hope you've enjoyed our thoughts.
So remember now that we've moved onto a different platform, so we're on Spotify, iTunes, and SoundCloud.
That's correct.
So if you're wanting to listen to our content, just go to one of those. Paul's really good at updating the Instagram with letting everybody know what we're reviewing next and such, and when our new podcasts are out.
So yeah, thank you once again for listening, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.